Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Fuchsa with Foot Title Group. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in today. As we try to do several times during the week, I try to come to you with interesting information or helpful thoughts that may make the home closing or the home purchase or the home refinance or the home sale process a lot easier for you. And so when people ask me questions, that makes it even better for me to try to explain to you things that other people don't understand, maybe have questions about, because there's a lot of things that I know we get questions about at closing or through the process that I love to talk about, because if those people have questions, then I'm sure you have similar questions. But particularly when we're talking to you about different things going on in the home closing process, when someone asks me a question specifically about something that we've talked about, it helps even more because then I can answer those questions to everybody. And so that happened to me a couple times at the end of the week last week. And let me apologize for being out so much. Usually I try to be very consistent because I know that a lot of you tune in regularly, and gosh, I really appreciate that. That's so exciting. And unfortunately, last week and the week before and for several weeks, I've been fighting what a lot of people have been going through, some pretty rough, crazy sickness stuff. So I really apologize for not being consistent, and I promise to be back on track because I'm feeling finally a whole lot better. So thanks so much for your patience. So let's get to it. So there's a lot of questions I get about things that are in the home closing process. And one of those is when someone that knows me or has watched and has questions about maybe they're going to refinance or they're going to buy a house, and they want to know exactly what we do and how I can help them or how the title company actually helps them in the process. So I had a couple of questions last week specifically about people that were buying a house or refinancing a house, and they wanted to know, can we just handle the whole thing? So they asked me questions, loan kind of questions. Some of the questions I could answer, some of them I referred them to some people that we work with, because there's a lot of good professionals out there that we've worked with for years and years, that if I can't answer a question, I don't purport to know everything that you guys have questions about, but I try to answer what I can, and then what I can't, definitely get you in touch with someone who can answer those questions better. But in these two particular cases, both of them were people that were going to be doing some type of financing on their house. One was had some questions about the VA loan process, and the other one had some questions about timing of refinancing and what part of the refinance process we as a title company do. So I want to talk about that for a few minutes, because that way it may help someone else answer that same exact question. So as a title company, we don't help you find the house that you're looking for. We don't help you write that real estate contract to make an offer on that house or selling that house. And we cannot do your mortgage for you. We cannot prepare the mortgage, get your loan approved, and get all of those pieces taken care of for you. What we can do is help answer some of those questions and direct you to some really good professionals that can do that. But once you have found that perfect house, or you're ready to sell your house and you have a contract on it, you're refinancing your home, you know you're going to start working with a lender, and you want someone to make sure that the closing is taken care of properly, that's where we step in. So once you've written the contract, you've started working on your mortgage, contact your title company, and you have the right, if you're buying or borrowing the money, you have the right to choose who does that closing. And it's really important because there's a couple of things that they do for you that is very important through the process. Your mortgage is really important. You're giving them all kinds of personal information. That's a pretty large bill that you're going to be paying for a very long time. The real estate agent is very important because that person is going to help you find that dream home with all the pieces that you particularly need. And not, just because someone is listed as, the top 10 realtor or the top 10 mortgage lender, they may be great at their job, but they may not mix with your personality. So interview people. And I respectfully really try to impress upon you how important it is to do that with the title company as well. Title companies do a couple of very important things. When you've decided on that mortgage and you've decided on your house, the title company gets that information and starts searching the ownership of that property to make sure that that house you're buying or that house you're refinancing has all the pieces that you're expecting they have. Now you may say, well, I'm refinancing my house. Why does it matter to have a search done? Because I've owned the property the whole time. Well, in today's world particularly, it's so much easier for people to do things that are illegal. And so particularly with the age of the internet and being able to print documents out and do all types of things such as that. First of all, it may be less important to you, but your mortgage company is not going to loan you money on that property unless they're positive that you are the one that owns it and that no one else has any interest in it. No other mortgages, no other liens. So maybe you had some work done at your house and you're arguing with the contractor because things weren't done properly and they've slapped a lien on your house. It could affect that refinance. It maybe you had some type of an accident and someone filed a lien against you. You maybe don't even know that that happened. Now they're supposed to give you notice, but again, if they didn't do it properly, you may not know that that's taken place. So some of those kind of things could happen. As I talked about in the world of being able to do things illegally, particularly on the computer, someone can actually forge your signatures on a document to change the ownership of that property. That sounds really scary. Yeah, it can happen. It's a fraudulent conveyance on your property, and it's almost like somebody stealing your identity, but in this case, trying to steal your property. And you may not know it unless a title search is done. So when you're refinancing, the lender requires that a title company get involved and make sure that that ownership is taken care of. But you also want to make sure, even though you've owned that property, you want to make sure you understand what's going on there. And so that's what the first step of the title company does. The next step is they coordinate all of the pieces, all of the people. If you're buying something, we need to make sure the buyers and the sellers and everybody comes together, the realtors, all of the lender's paperwork, everything is done and all comes together at the same time. Why? Because you want to make sure well, your loan documents are signed properly, all the numbers are signed properly, the seller signing the document that transfers the ownership to you while you're signing the mortgage documents that secure the loan against the property. All of these pieces are really important. And so if someone can't attend that closing, what are we going to do? How are we going to make sure that that's taken care of, that all those pieces are resolved? And that's one of the pieces that a title company takes care of, is making sure all that coordination, all the numbers, all the papers, all the people, all get together at the same time so your ownership is protected. And then the third thing is, after closing, the title company makes sure that your ownership is protected by making sure all the documents and all the funds get to where they belong, and then they provide you with insurance that says, we guarantee you own the property that you thought you were buying. And so that is really important, because when everybody leaves that closing table, you want to make sure that you have protection, that what you thought you owned is what you own. Now, it may seem funny on a refinance that that's, of course you own that. You already know, you've lived there for 10 years. But in that case, the mortgage company also gets that insurance, and they're not going to do a loan for you unless they're guaranteed that their interest is protected as well in that ownership, because they're loaning you a huge amount of money and they want to make sure that that mortgage is protected for as long as it exists, so that no one can come and take away that home. Something could happen to some of that property or all of that property that makes the value of it less or non-existent, and then that loan has no security. So the lender is going to require that on a refinance, and so that title company is very important. And you want to make sure that if you're refinancing, that you're protected, that those things are all taken care of properly. Your title insurance that you get when you purchase your home is good for as long as you own your home. But when you refinance, again, the other parts of that process need to go off smoothly too, for everything to happen properly, and a title company makes sure all those pieces happen. So hopefully that answered a little bit for you. We don't do all the pieces of that process for you, but we do the title company part, and we can direct you and help you get answers to some of the really important questions that you have. And the mortgage lender or the realtor need to know that you've chosen the title company you want to work with, because you have the right to choose. And if you work with a company that doesn't have a good track record, that doesn't write good insurance, you're not protected. And those things are really important, because later when everybody's gone and you don't have the proper protection and that title company is out of business, you have a huge problem that you can't resolve. So hopefully I answered a few questions for you. Not the most sexy and interesting and crazy fun stuff in the world, but it's really important if you're looking at refinancing or buying a house that you understand the role of the title company, because when everybody's gone, that's the piece that's going to protect you against making sure that that home ownership is yours and not someone else's. So hopefully I helped you guys today. Hope you have a fantastic day. I look forward to talking to you again real soon. And thank you so much for tuning in to Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Fuchsa with Foot Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Have a fantastic morning.